Hey guys, Nico here from TF3 here today to talk to you about the Champions League games that happened earlier this week and give you a little bit of analysis on them. So without further ado, Monaco versus Juventus was the later game, but we'll start with that. Allegri's 3-5-2 formation, in the same way that he attacked Barcelona, both, I guess, defensively and offensively, with a 4-2-3-1 formation. This was the best formation in his mind to expose the deficiencies that Jardim has in his defensive 4-4-2 formation. Essentially, the key thing here was the wide players and the wing backs, and Dani Alves and Alexandro. Their width and sort of their positioning on the field either drew out the left back or the right back, so they had to address them, which allowed Juventus to attack their central defenders through Higuaín, Mandzukic, and to some extent Paulo Dybala, who was given a free sort of floating role, or with those wing players, the widest player of the Monaco formation was drawn back, and Marchisio and Pjanic, who sat in sort of deeper midfield roles, were given more time and ability on the ball, and that's really what deconstructed Monaco as the game went on. In the second half, Juventus transformed to more of a consistent back five that tried to address Kylian Mbappe very early. It was sort of lopsided, and I didn't understand it at first, but then as the game went on, the purpose of the formation came clear. The back five would essentially, one of the members of the back five at least, would step out and address Mbappe before he had the ability to turn and dribble and sort of try and attack those central defenders, because no matter what, those defenders are excellent because of the system that they're in. Allegri doesn't often allow those defenders to be attacked directly, but they make very good decisions on their own. And sort of that formation eliminated the possibility of that happening. And I think he did that very well. So he sort of nullified the game. I think, Allegri coming at this game with sort of a 3-5-2 formation to try and expose the worst parts of Jardim's formation really shows how flexible he can be, and sort of exposes how inflexible Jardim was. Though it's only one game and it remains to be seen what will happen, Jardim really hasn't changed that much from this 4-4-2 formation, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the second leg. The second game that we'll talk about was the first game of the week, Real Madrid versus Atletico. I think a key player here in the 4-3-3 formation, obviously Gareth Bale was out through injury, and that allowed space for Isco to come into the team and really make a difference, as he has been consistently for this team. No matter the type of role he's been asked to play, he's done something good for Real Madrid, and I think the same thing happens here. Although he was deployed in a right wing role, he really became more of a central midfielder, and it overloaded that Atletico central midfield, because what people tend to forget about the 4-4-2 formation is that although it is four flat midfielders, two of those players tend to be a little bit wider unless you're going for a narrow formation, and Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, Isco, and Casemiro, that midfield four, was sort of able to overload and overrun that central midfield of just Koke and Saúl Ñíguez, and Saúl Ñíguez on top of being overrun, which probably didn't help. Didn't have the greatest of games. At the beginning, Atletico went for more of a 4-4-2 diamond, which I think worked because they were pressing Real Madrid very well and sort of in a medium block in certain situations. But Isco occupying those half spaces, transitioning from more of a central midfield to a right wing role, was able to complete passing triangles between the left backs and the right backs, and he was really all over the pitch, and it speaks to his ability and his caliber as a player. So unfortunately for Atletico Madrid, it was yet again Real Madrid that came through and was really the better side in this team. Sometimes we see results aren't necessarily representative of the match, but that simply isn't the case. Time and time again, Atletico Madrid have fallen to Real Madrid, and this doesn't seem to be a time where it's unjust or anything. It's just Real Madrid were excellent, because not only because of Isco, but because of Benzema's off-ball movement. Ronaldo got in the right places at the right time, showing how quality he is and sort of how he's grown into the latter stages of his career, being less of a take-on winger and more of a number 9, finding those spaces and finding how to score goals, and not only that, but assist players. So his hat trick obviously speaks to how excellent he was, but it's the off-ball movement as well. So in terms of predictions, Juventus Monaco, I think this is pretty much already in the bag for Juventus. Although we struggle to make that conclusion after some of the ties earlier this season with Barcelona enjoying the greatest comeback of all time and then not even going on to be in the latter stages of the competition. Sometimes it's difficult to land on a prediction, but I think, Allegri is as flexible as possible, and that is what has gotten him this far, and I think he'll get to the final. So hopefully they're palpably rewarded at the end of the season, but I think they're pretty much into the final. So I'll go 1-0 to Juventus for the next leg, and then Real Atletico. Simeone has advanced this side massively since he's gotten there. He's made them defensively solid, but he has also this year made them a little bit better from an attacking standpoint. And I think though they are better, it's difficult to imagine a situation where they overcome a 3-goal deficit. Not only that, but fail to concede. Though the Calderon is a difficult place to go. I think Real will probably go through. So I'll go 2-1 to Real as a prediction for the second leg. Thanks for joining us again here on TF3, and we hope to have you back. See you guys next time.